As cool weather comes closer, many of us want to stay inside and watch movies. Luckily, today's episode is all about movies. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and don't go away because we'll be right back with Short Stack. Welcome to the first episode of Short Stack for the 2025-2026 school year. I'm your host, Natalia Jakob, and today we will be talking about films, how they are made, and what people's favorites are. The creation of a film can make or break a legacy. Many films are associated with a nightmare of a production. Films like The Wizard of Oz and The Shining are known for their problematic unset practices. But there's one film that slips through the cracks.
Apocalypse Now is one of the greatest war films ever made. But behind its brilliance lies a production so chaotic, dangerous, and drug-fueled that it nearly destroyed the film. Director Francis Ford Coppola envisioned Apocalypse Now as a war epic that would redefine cinema. But to achieve realism, he forced his cast and crew into a literal jungle of madness. The chaos bled into the performances. In one unforgettable and frankly iconic scene, Martin Sheen, drunk and emotionally unraveling, smashed a mirror and bled, for real. But that wasn't acting. That was Sheen genuinely breaking down. He was working exhausting hours in grueling heat, all while battling his own mental health. In 1977, during filming, Sheen suffered a massive heart attack in the jungle due to heat, binge drinking, stress, and pushing himself relentlessly to meet the demands of the role. He nearly died. Then came Marlon Brando. Him and Coppola still coming off the high of their mutual success in The Godfather 1 and 2, two of the most iconic and highly regarded films of all time. Brando was paid a fortune for his role in Apocalypse Now, but when filming arrived, he showed up overweight, unprepared, and refusing to learn his lines. He claimed it was method acting to keep the performance authentic, but he hadn't even read The Heart of Darkness yet, the book that the film was based off of. Actor Dennis Hopper recalls a dinner where he joked, "I bet you haven't even read the book." Brando exploded. He screamed, stormed out, and yelled, "Why do I have to hear it from this punk?" But speaking of punks, Dennis Hopper was high on cocaine nearly the entire shoot. His erratic behavior made filming a nightmare. He even allegedly introduced a 14-year-old Lawrence Fishburne to heroin on set, hooking him on that. At one point, Hopper and Brando were kept apart because Hopper was too coked out to remember his lines, and Brando refused to act with him. As if the cast wasn't enough of a disaster, nature stepped in. In 1976, Typhoon Olga struck the set, and it destroyed up to 80% of the sets at Iba. Trees bent at 45 degrees, production had to shut down. Crew members were stranded in flooded buildings, and filming stopped for weeks. And the iconic helicopters, constantly rebuked by the Philippine military in order to fight real-life conflict. And even worse, during the third act, when dead bodies were scattered all around Kurtz's compound, the production unknowingly used real human corpses. When Filipino authorities found out, the bodies were confiscated, then arrests were made. But the horror didn't end with storms and heart attacks, and it didn't even end with dead bodies. Coppola wrote the majority of the script on the fly, but one thing he knew was going to happen was the buffalo slaughter. In pursuit of realism, Coppola allowed a real water buffalo to be slaughtered on film. With his insistence on creating a masterpiece, the film's budget skyrocketed from $12 million to over $31.5 million due to Coppola's vision. And that was to the point where he had to mortgage his house and risk total bankruptcy just to finish it. Somehow, through all the madness, the risk paid off. Apocalypse Now premiered in 1979, grossing over $150 million worldwide. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, the greatest honor that a director could possibly win for their film, an Oscar for Best Cinematography, but what stuck the most? One of the most iconic lines in film history.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Wow, the production of this film was really an apocalypse of its own. Now, the movie might not have been a real war, but what was real was the mental war the crew went through trying to get through the film. On the topic of real stories and films, there have been many films based on true stories, but are they really as true to life as they say they are?
They're marketed as based on a true story, but how much of what we see in Hollywood biopics is actually true? From box office hits to Academy Award contenders, biographical films often promise an inside look at the lives of real people and historical events. But behind the dramatized scripts and cinematic flair, there's often a very different story unfolding. We're taking a closer look at the growing gap between fact and fiction in the biopic industry. What did filmmakers get right, and what was altered for our entertainment? This is the Short Stack Special Report of fact versus film. When Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette hit theaters back in 2006, it turned heads, not just for its pastel-soaked visuals and modern soundtrack, but for its rebellious take on one of history's most infamous royals. Starring Kirsten Dunst, the film reimagines the young queen as a misunderstood teenager trapped in the Gilded Age of Versailles. Sofia Coppola satirically shows Converse sneakers in the film to accentuate its ironic tone, and Converses were obviously not around during the Gilded Age. The film deliberately avoids the growing social unrest and political chaos leading up to the French Revolution, and it's almost entirely focused on palace life and personal relationships. Ignoring the broader context, the food shortages, rising poverty, and political tensions, Coppola leaves out crucial reasons as to why Marie Antoinette was so unpopular and what led to her eventual execution. However, on the factual side, Marie Antoinette was known for her lavish spending and extravagant tastes. While the film exaggerates this for stylistic effect, the core truth is there. Her image as a symbol of wealth and materialism did a whole lot of damage to her public perception.
And when they went to the queen to tell her her subject had no bread, do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
That's such nonsense. I would never say that.
Baz Luhrmann's Elvis bursts onto the screen with a whirlwind of music, style, and spectacle, capturing the electric rise of Elvis Presley, the undisputed king of rock and roll. The film dives into his complex relationship with manager Colonel Tom Parker and explores his roller coaster of a life. But the film arguably glosses over the inappropriateness of Presley's relationship with a then 14-year-old Priscilla Beaulieu. The movie attempts to depict the couple as having an epic and touching romance without addressing the problematic aspects. Elvis gave a young Priscilla drugs, threw a chair at her, and repeatedly cheated on her, even during her pregnancy. However, Sofia Coppola's Priscilla film more accurately depicts a lot of these moments, along with more aspects of her problematic and painful relationship with Elvis. On the other hand, the biopic accurately includes pivotal events such as Presley's discovery at Sun Records in 1954, the electric nature of his first shows, his successful '68 comeback special, and his Vegas residency. Historical films offer a powerful way to experience the past, but they often blend fact with fiction to enhance the story. Exploring the differences between what really happened and how it's portrayed on the screen helps us see history more clearly, and it reminds us to look beyond the drama to the true events that shaped our world.
Have you ever watched a movie and seen the words based on true events? Well, this is a good reminder that we should look past the information being fed to us by a film and do our own research to get the real facts. Let's see what the students of Warwick Valley High School have to say about their favorite movie, so don't go away because we'll be right back with Short Stack. Welcome back to Short Stack. Children's movies are often entertaining for the children, but not as much so for the adults. But does every child-friendly movie have to be just catered to the entertainment of the children? Adults can have a good time watching a children's movie too, right? Hi, I'm Natalia Jakob, and today I will be reviewing a movie that is both fun and wacky, yet also heartwarming. Spy Kids is about two young children, Carmen and Junie, who discover their family's big secret. Their parents are spies.
My parents can't be spies. They're not cool enough.
Now, Carmen and Junie have to discover the world of being a spy while also trying to save their parents from an evil mastermind. Carmen and Junie are played by Daryl Sabara as Junie and Alexa Penavega as Carmen. Now, during the filming of this movie, both Daryl and Alexa were children, so I don't want to criticize their acting too harshly. Not that I think it was bad, but also for this movie, I feel like the acting isn't the main focal point. Like, I don't think that their acting has to be crazy good to pull this movie off. But I do think that their acting performances in this were great. They were really good, especially for being children. I think Daryl does an amazing job portraying Junie as this seemingly weak character who doesn't have many friends and he gets picked on constantly, but you really see him develop as the movie goes on and he comes into his own and you see him gain more confidence in himself. And You see Alexa, who plays Carmen. She is this rebel girl. She doesn't like having to take care of her little brother. She kind of sees him as a burden in the beginning, but as the movie goes on and Junie gains more confidence, you see their dynamic shift a little bit, which I think is really incredible that they were able to pull that off. Carmen and Junie's parents, Gregorio and Ingrid Cortez, are played by Antonio Banderas as Gregorio and Carla Gugino as Ingrid. Now, again, for all of the adult actors in this film, it's obviously not their best work, but you can tell that they were having a lot of fun while filming this, and their performances are so entertaining. And what I really like about Ingrid and Gregorio is that you get a taste of their backstory, and I think that's a very memorable scene in this film, because it's just fun, and they tell the story to their children even before their children know that it's their story. And I just think it's so cool and so different, and I really like that they added that because you get more of an insight into their characters and why they are the way that they are. I would also like to point out Danny Trejo and Alan Cumming, who also make an appearance in this film. Danny Trejo plays Machete, Gregorio's brother, and Alan Cumming plays the evil mastermind of Floop. I really like Danny's portrayal of Machete because he's this macho, grumpy man, but he still has a heart. He hasn't spoken to his brother, Gregorio, in quite some time, yet when his niece and nephew come by, at first he's all like, no, get out of here, but then he still gives them a place to stay for the night, and he still helps them out, and I really appreciate that, and I think he did that really well. I also really appreciate Alan Cumming's portrayal of Floop. It's very artsy, it's very whimsical. We're supposed to see him as this villain, but from the start you can tell that there's a softer side about him, and I really like what he did with this character. Spy Kids is rated PG. It's a family movie, it's a kids movie. I think there's a lot of movies out there that some parents kind of don't like watching with their kids just because it's not also entertaining for them, but I think this movie is definitely the kind of movie that people of all ages can enjoy. It's fun, it's entertaining, and I just think it's a really great movie. I would rate it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's nothing to write home about. It's definitely quite corny. The special effects aren't great, but it's also 2001, so I think they're pretty good for it being 2001. It's just not up to today's standards, but I do think it's a really fun movie to just sit down and enjoy if you need a good laugh or if you just want to be entertained. That's all I have for today. I'm Natalia Jakob. Thank you so much for watching. Spy Kids have a lot of underlying family lessons. This is a great message to send to kids as well as parents. But speaking of families and love, did you know that studies show that only 3 to 5% of people actually experience true love during their lifetime? However, 60 to 75% of people also claim to lose the love of their life. This next film explores the complicated decision to pursue that love.
Recently, before it left Netflix, I did a rewatch of probably one of my favorite films of all time, La La Land. It was released in 2016 by Lionsgate, and it was directed by Damien Chazelle, who had previously directed the incredibly successful movie Whiplash. It had a budget of $30 million, however, it managed to gross an impressive $509 million in the global box office. It won 6 Oscars that year, however, it did not win the Oscar for Best Picture, as that went to Moonlight despite the initial mix-up. La La Land is a film that seamlessly blends together music, romance, and drama, as it follows our main characters, Sebastian, a jazz pianist, and Mia, an inspiring actress, as they both try to navigate LA while trying to maintain the relationship as well as follow their dreams. I think Emma Stone delivers a career best in her performance as Mia, as she did win the Oscar for Best Actress that year, and she truly just allows Mia to feel human and allows the audience to deeply sympathize with her. However, my favorite performance is probably Ryan Gosling's performance as Sebastian. Not only do I just adore Ryan Gosling as a human, I do also love the fact that he learned how to play piano for this film and sing, and you could truly feel the passion of Sebastian and Ryan Gosling's love for this character and for music overall oozing through the screen, and I think he just provides a really intense, impactful performance. And I would be remiss not to mention J.K. Simmons. I mean, he's in it for about 3 seconds as Bill, the manager of the nightclub Sebastian works at,
But he truly is the comedic relief in this movie. In a movie that's overall pretty intense, his just like deadpan delivery provides a lot of levity, I think. One of the reasons I absolutely love this film is because of the cinematography done by Linus Sandgren, which he also won an Oscar for. It is truly reminiscent of old Hollywood, and all the colors are just so vibrant and alive, and it really breathes life into a lot of the movie, as well as Justin Hurwitz's soundtrack. Songs with lyrics or without lyrics are all just so memorable and truly leave an impact in your mind, and I often find myself like humming them.
With a 91% score on Rotten Tomatoes, it is safe to say that La La Land is a film loved by many. Next time you have some free time, maybe give it a watch. Talking about how good La La Land is makes me wonder what movies people think are overrated. Well, we asked that question to the students of Warwick Valley High School, so don't go away, we'll be right back with the Short Stack. Once again, welcome back to Short Stack. While we saw some overrated movies, let's take a look at some movies that are definitely not overrated in any way.
All right, folks, I'm here in Warwick Valley asking the serious question. Forget about math classes, forget about writing your ELA essays. We're asking about which is the best Adam Sandler sports movie.
Hi, my favorite movie from Adam Sandler, sports movie, is Happy Gilmore, and my favorite quote is "Tap it in."
Don't worry about it, you're still in good shape. All you gotta do is just tap it in. Just tap it in now. Hey, just tap it in.
My favorite Adam Sandler sports movie is The Waterboy. My favorite quote is, "That's some high quality H2O." It's clean. It's cold. And that's what I call high quality H2O.
My favorite movie is The Longest Yard, and my favorite quote is, "He broke in my nose."
Effective. All right. I broke in my nose.
And there we have it. We've traveled far and wide throughout the Warwick Valley High School asking which Adam Sandler movie is the best. And in my opinion, I think it's The Waterboy. I think he's just a very funny actor. But with that, we're wrapping up this show. I'm Joey Storms, and back to you in the studio.
Personally, my favorite Adam Sandler movie is Spaceman. I love how the story unfolds and the meaning behind the film. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today on Short Stack. I hope maybe you learned something new about how movies are made or heard about a movie you want to watch. Again, I'm Natalia Jakob. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can tune in to the next episode of Short Stack.